Praise the Lord, my dear friends. We are on the sixth Sunday in Ordinary Times, and today in the Gospel taken from Matthew chapter 5, we see Jesus saying that heaven and earth might pass away, but not even an iota, a dot from the law of the Lord will pass away until all is accomplished. You might have heard it saying that you shall not murder, but everyone who gets angry with his brother will be liable to judgment, and those who insults the brothers will be liable to counsel, and those who call someone a fool will answer for it in hellfire, and so on. What do we see here? Here Jesus presents a way of following the word of God where avoiding certain sins is not the target. The target is actually living a life of holiness as expected by the Lord. So just because we do not murder, just because we do not commit adultery, just because we feel that we do not commit some of these big sins, we should not be thinking that we are actually living a holy life. Holiness is exact fulfillment of the law, not just avoiding certain sins. So what is this exact fulfillment of the law? In the first reading taken from the book of Sirach, we read, "Following the commandment of the Lord is a matter of choice. If we wish, we can live a holy life." So how can we actually live a holy life? In the responsorial psalm today, taken from Psalm 119, we read about the word of the Lord. Actually, Psalm 119 beautifully speaks a lot about the importance of our obedience to the word of the Lord. And there we read, "You have laid out your precepts to be carefully kept." You have laid out your precepts to be carefully kept. So how can we carefully keep the precepts of the Lord? Again in Psalm 119 verse 110 we read, "Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." Why do we say so? The word of God is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. Just imagine you going in the night somewhere holding a torch. When we hold a torch, how do we hold it? We do not hold it facing the sky. We hold it facing the path on which we walk. And from the light that comes from the torch, we are able to distinguish the way that we should walk and the way that we shouldn't walk. So it's not about having the best torch in hand, but it's about being able to use the light that comes from the torch to distinguish where I should put my leg and where I should not put my leg on. That's the same thing about the Word of God. It's not about just having the knowledge about the Word of God. It's not just about reading or listening to the Word of God regularly. It's about allowing the light of the Word of God to fall upon our day-to-day activities, and then we are able to distinguish the way we should speak and the way we should not speak, the way we should act and the way we should not act, the way we should do certain things and the way we shouldn't do certain things. If we do not do that, it's just like having the torch facing the sky. We may just stumble and fall in spite of having the torch. And just imagine, when we use the torch in the night, we do not spend time thinking, okay, that is a stone, I should not stump on it. Oh, that's a good path, I should walk on it. We do not think. It becomes natural to us to focus the light onto the path and to take the right path. We don't even bother how we take that right steps. So our use of the Word of God should be such that it becomes natural to us to allow the Word of God control our day-to-day activities, and we naturally develop the tendency to choose what is right, what is allowed by the Word of God. And once we allow the Word of God to guide every thought, word and action, we will see that we will not anymore be focused on avoiding certain sins alone, but we will be focused on living in the Word of God or living in the presence of the Lord. John chapter 8 verse 31 says, "If you remain in me, you are truly my disciples." Who is Jesus? Jesus is the Word of God. So actually he was asking to remain in the Word of God. Remaining in the Word of God would mean never going out of the Word of God. Suppose if someone tells us to remain in a particular hall or a room, and after a while when we walk out of that room, we know that we have disobeyed that person. So remaining in simply means not going out. So when Jesus says to remain in Him or remain in the Word of God, is actually asking us to remain within the limit set by the Word of God. So for that, we need to know what is the limit set by the Word of God. So an intense reading of the Word of God, reflecting on the Word of God, and learning by heart Bible verses and repeating once in a while and so on will really help. So my dear friends, let us not be satisfied just by avoiding certain big sins. Let us live a life exactly as expected by the Lord, by immersing ourselves into the Word of God and learning to let the Word of God guide us in the way we speak, the way we act, or the way we think. May God bless each one of us.